Good evening. It is 10:40 p.m. GMT, Monday, December 22nd. Let's start with silver. Look at that. Again, much like last Monday, silver opened Monday on a positive note. New historic high. According to stock charts, the high was 68.94. RSI 78 overbought, but hey, as you can see here, it can remain that way for weeks at a time. At some point, it's going to break lower. In the most recent, I guess you could say over two little minor drops, 54 to 48, $6, which was around 11, 12%, and 54 to 45. It's a $9 drop. That's about 18% across about 2 weeks. Notice in both cases it held at the 50-day, so there's no way in hell we're going under $54, right? That ain't gonna happen. And the concern to anybody stupid enough to be short is that maybe we'll just keep going to 60, going to straight up to 100. I just saw another video. I think it was Jim Rickards. Yeah, he was talking about 10K gold with $200 silver, $200 silver, and we could see $200 silver next year. It's possible. I think on balance that would be a very bold target, but $100 silver next year looks easy, and we could even print that in late January, early Feb. Just assuming the current rate goes on. Look at this. We were 48 about 4 weeks ago. 48, 48, and we're now 68. We've gone up $20 in a month. So if you just stick 20 on 68, that gets you to what? Almost $90 by the end of January. So just a little bit of an acceleration, like a little blow off top, we can get to $100. And then the question, where would the cooling wave go to? The 50-day, in my view, currently 54. Of course, by late January, that'll be about, well, we could put maybe run out to maybe $60. We could see silver come down from 100 to maybe $60. That would be a horrific drop, but that would just be a retrace. Wild times. Um, Moving on from silver before I get bogged down. Gold. Wow. I didn't even notice. I didn't. My mind has been preoccupied with other things today. I did not even notice that gold broke a new historic high today. Look at that. Unbelievable. Gold printed new historic high 44.43. Clearly, look at that candle. Powerful candle. And you could even argue that RSI is overbought, but you can see there it was overbought for 6 weeks and went from 30, what's that, 3,600 to 43, so $700. You can argue we'll be at 5K late January, early Feb. I can't believe I didn't notice gold today. I mean, I remember looking at the number early because I wrote it down for my subscriber 2 o'clock post. I'm thinking, yeah, it was 4,430 or so, and god damn, yeah, near historic high, gold and silver. In fact, that reminds me, what about Dr. Copper? Copper was up 2 cents, 5.43. Again, you got to think copper's got to go up above $6. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Look at it on a monthly chart. What's this? 3, 4, 5 months up. Monthly momentum is just building and building. It's got to go into the sixes, right? Maybe you probably get $6 copper when silver is 90 to 100, and gold will be about 5K, which does appear viable within the next probably 5 to 6 weeks. Right, it takes my breath away just thinking about it. But of course, again, my concern as a as a short-term trader is like, oh my God, I want to make sure I'm on the right side. I don't want to be on the wrong side of this trade when it turns. It's terrifying. The only thing, the these giant bullish wedges are very supportive though of silver 100 and gold to 5K within the next, you know, 1 to 2 months. Wow. And of course, we have stocks like, let's go for it. Let's get that one. Newmont. I mean, look at this gigantic bullish pennant. Look at this. But what is that? That's a bull flag on the just sitting on top of the pennant, right? Then it breaks up, new historic high there. And what is this? This is another little baby bull flag. And then we just another new historic high today. 105s. I mean, I was talking about 125 just last week, and hell, we're only 20 odd bucks from that now. And the size of that pennant, you could even argue, you could easily, I mean, 125, 130 is my target. I mean, you gotta ask the question. Question is, what if gold is 5,000? What is Newmont? I mean, 125, 130 looks easy, but I would be open to the notion we could get a little blow off top to maybe 150. Anyway, got to be bullish to minus, right? Um, let's go through some things. I'm gonna actually I'll cover the S&P and VIX briefly. I mean, look, third day up. This is this is no market for the bears. We have a couple of downside gaps, so we could come back down to the 50-day, but that looks really difficult. And look at the momentum. Momentum's going to turn positive on Tuesday. In theory, Tuesday will be green at least briefly. I mean, you could say we're going to fail, but upper Bollinger offers 69.23. That would be a fractional new historic high tomorrow. We could be printing a new historic high tomorrow for sure. And then the VIX, I've been saying it forever, but look, holiday trading, the VIX will just get ground down. We almost printed the 13s today. Remember, the VIX is going to stay subdued almost certainly all the way into early January. There's no reason to expect VIX above the 20 threshold. I mean, unless there was some kind of crazy event. I mean, it's just no. VIX is going to remain subdued. The VIX trade is dead. It's been dead for a long while. All right, looking through my list of things to highlight, I guess American Eagle must have been up. Actually, look, it did print a new historic high. Actually, no, a new cycle high, but it did reverse. That's a bearish engulfing candle in American Eagle. That leans bearish for Tuesday. All right, that's interesting. Let's new historic high in first month. Actually, no, that's not a new historic high. That's a new multi-year high. I think the big target is the 22s. AMD up 0.7%, but that's a black candle. That's bearish for Tuesday. Amazon up 0.5%. Also, it's actually a little black. It's a black doji candle from the 50-day. So you can see that's also leans red for Tuesday. Barrick Mining, new historic high. 45.59. That's a black doji candle that leans red for Tuesday. Doesn't mean Tuesday will open positive. It's suggestive that Tuesday will trade red at some point. Solid gains for Boeing. Don't care about Baba. Bank of America. That's a new historic high. Financials are strong. It's a good example of stock finding support at a gap, not a gap, a key price threshold. Short term bullish. Bitmine, not pretty, is it? I mean, you gotta. I mean, I have to wonder how many people were buying between around 100 to 120, and they're still holding, or they were buying, especially around here. A lot of people buying around 50 to 60 odd, and you think they're down. They're down 50%. What do you do if you bought at 65 or so? You've been holding for months now, and it's just painful. You're still down 50%. What do you do? Do you capitulate or just hold on and hope that eventually, at some point next year, this goes back to say 100? I would accept this could be $100 at some point next year, but you know, it's it's one of those Bitcoin crypto ETFs, and there's a suspect. A sister one is called is the Dan Ives one. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at the positive market today. And this was down another 6.5%. $2.15. Look at this. This is very sort of similar, but worse than Bitmine. Look, just hysteria. Literally, the word, well, the name Dan Ives, right? Dan Ives was revealed, hyper spike, and then duty collapsed, and now it's basically a flatlining zombie, almost, almost back to where it started. And you got to think how many people were buying, on the day at 40 odd bucks, or even if they were buying at 15. Imagine if you're buying anywhere from here, say, 10, 15 bucks. You're down 80%. What do you do? Do you capitulate or think, hey, look, I'm just going to tuck this to the back and not worry about it, and maybe one day it'll hyper spike again to 50 bucks? This is horrible. I mean, I don't watch CNBC, but you got to wonder, is Dan Ives been on TV talking about this? Has anybody asked him about this? Because this is a disaster. Anyway, moving on. What else we got? Oh yeah, MP Materials. Yeah, a little bit higher. It's most. You could even argue it has a double floor of 50 to 51. Micron broke. Yeah, look at that. Micron new historic high at 4%. I think today's candle is a black doji, leans red for Tuesday, and we do have a downside gap to the 50-day at 229 ish. It's a long way down. I don't expect that to be hit anytime soon, but Netflix down 1%. Again, short-term structure was a bear flag. Look at the black candle from the 10 MA. Also, today's candle is actually bearish engulfing. That leans short-term bearish. Nvidia. Is this another black candle? 183.92. It is. It's another black candle, black doji, just under the 50-day. So that's another one that leans bearish for Tuesday. Oklo, black candle. There are black candles everywhere. Pan American Silver, new historic high, not a black candle. Palantir, so we broke it into green zone, and that's a black candle. I mean, look at it, black candles everywhere. PayPal I covered to my subscribers. We'll skip over that. Red Cat, yeah, drone company. Yeah, a lot of hysteria today in drone stocks. You know, I'm not. I mean, again, the future of warfare is drones. Although, of course, I was literally just 20 minutes ago watching Trump and a number of people talking about the Trump class battleship, the USS Defiant. You gotta wonder, is somebody a fan of Star Trek Deep Space Nine? There was another name as well, because they got to build two of them. One of them was they're called Defiant. I can't remember the other one, but they look good. I mean, I'm not against U.S. government having battleships, especially if they have rail guns. But he did say it. The one thing I did catch Trump saying is that they wanted these new battleships to have cruise missiles, nuclear armed, nuclear tipped. So those are serious serious weapons. Again, you got to be bullish defense stocks, right? Oh yeah, Nvidia had a black candle, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, Rocket Lab. Of course. Look at this. Friday was up on the Pentagon contract news, 800 million odd. Today, new historic high. And yeah, you could argue it's overbought, but look, this this could even be $100 in January, right? I think there's a good chance now this is going to be $200 with the SpaceX IPO, which by my estimation will come out in September of 2026 with the ticker Mars. By the way, that's my guess. But yeah, Rocket Lab, good company, very good company. The launches are impressive. They get better all the time. They are developing new launch vehicles, which is absolutely necessary if they're going to have a long-term future. So yeah, they're doing good. SMR Nuclear. I mean, they're up 2%, but this isn't. But the fact it even broke under that price threshold is surprising. But the gold will be buying, and as I'm saying that, I'm asking myself the question: why am I not buying this? Why? Why am I not buying this right now? I mean, it's $16, right? 16. It was 57 in October. 57. It's almost down like 75% in like 2 months. 2 months, 75% down. And you can see, well, clearly, like, on any basis, right, the worst of the downside is clearly done. Maybe it will come down a bit more, but this is clearly the low end, right? I like that one. Haven't known it since the summer. Target was down today. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, you could argue it's just short-term cooling, right? It's had a run from the 83s to 101, second day down, and now you could argue, well, it's either going to hold it for 200 day, which that's what if you're bullish, right? You want to see target hold at that level, or although you could maybe tolerate the 50-day tomorrow or Wednesday. It is trying to break out on a midterm basis, which reminds me of UPS. I'm trying. I should have noted some of these names down, but I think names that people have mentioned to me today. I mean, UPS was down for a second day, but I mean, look, you have the gap up, black candle, sells off, then it does break above the 200 day, and you think, okay, maybe it'll come back down to. I mean, I think actually it's 100 now, so maybe it'll come back down to. I mean, maybe only 97, 95-ish at most. Good company. Oh yeah, Tesla. Tesla, I mean, look at this. New historic high. And did it get a black candle? Yes, it did. That's a black candle. And we have a gap down to around what? 470? We could be 470-ish before Santa Claus delivers. And that would just be a cooling wave. Clearly though, right? New historic high, almost $500. Bullish. But maybe a day or two of cooling. But we're not going to get hysterical about the short term, right? We don't. I generally don't care about the short term. If I'm about to place a trade or exit something, then yeah, sure, I'm focused on the tiny little cycles. But generally, I don't care about the intraday action. It really doesn't matter. Well, it shouldn't matter to most people. Oh yeah, United Health. These are my two ones I keep droning on about. Um, I mean, it was down point 0.7. It's mostly, you can even argue it's just burning off well, not it wasn't even overbought, but it's just kind of resetting from moderately high conditions, and it's you got to think, look, when it breaks above the 200-day, which in my view is an eventuality, then off we go to this big giant green gap, 470s. And I mean, of course, even it's not just 470s, but it goes all the way up to 573. You could argue if we do break, if or rather when we break above there, the green gap could be, fully filled, all the way to 573. That's 250 dollars up. 250 on 325 is what's that? That's about 65. That's 65 to 70% for a Dow component. My only concern, and it just occurred to me, ironically, my only concern would be if we get a sporadic news announcement that the governing Dow board kick United Health out of a Dow and replace it with something else. That wouldn't help short-term sentiment. But regardless, I would still expect. I expect an upside break. And speaking about United Health reminds me about Decker's, my other one that I keep going on about. Yeah, I mean, look, Decker's up 2.5%. Again, once this breaks above the 200-day, which is 105s, then my soft target will be 125, and grander target for next year will be 150. We could even see in theory 150 by within February, and March. Looks possible. And speaking of Deckers, reminds me of Nike. So Nike had a rough day. And you can even see they had a brief early rally, but they complete fail, and that's an ugly closing. That's closed right at the low. It's not pretty, is it? Oh, look at that. So anybody buying on Friday, what did he do? In theory, if they bought on Friday, they should have had to stop at the low, and they got washed out this morning. In theory, and I'm not saying there's not value here, but look, the threat would be that we go back down to test the April 51s. Also, a little teeny bit of support at 53s, but there's zero sign of a floor there. And that was with a positive main market. So if the main market is down tomorrow, as all these black candles that I keep seeing suggest, then Nike's got to be in the 56s or 55s tomorrow. All right, what else? Hmm. Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin had a rally, but it lost the gains. Not a great sign. I guess we never really look at oil that much, do we? So oil was 54s last week. It's in the 57s. It was 58s briefly today. But look, I mean, it's just a few days up. It's not great. But of course, cheap oil is good for everything else. Nat gas has a reversal candle. And look at the gaps. This thing is rife with gaps, dozens of them. It's I mean, they call nat gas the widow maker, and it's like anyone normal should have no business trading nat gas. Too many problems. I'm almost inclined to go for a few other world markets, but actually I'll do that. I'm just gonna flash through these. Have a look at this. Dow, new historic high this month. Remember, we only have well, it depends on what market, because some markets will be closing more, but we only have a handful of days left. But Germany, 1.9% on the month. Japan, 0.3. Brazil did break a new historic high, but it's negative. Russia, it's up 1.5%. But you can even say the Russia market is kind of the waves are getting tighter, and you maybe look for an upside break. India, looks like it had a new historic high, but it's fractionally red. China market, you can argue China market is building has a multi-month bull flag at 3,900, which is old trend resistance. Basic target would be 5,000 or so, back to where it was in 2015. Before there was remember all this drop here, right? All of this drop in China, late 2015, 2016 was due to a commodity collapse. It's also when gold and silver had a little intermediate floor. I get two others. Let's not forget South Africa, new historic high up 5%. Argentina, new historic high up 3.5%. Australia, up 0.9%. You can argue structures a multi-month bull flag. Again, higher commodity prices is especially bullish for Australia. Anything else? I don't know. Oh yeah, I'll look at silver on the smaller time frames. Oh god, this is gonna annoy me. It's annoying me already just thinking about it. Oh no. I mean, look, cyclically, momentum weakened across the day, settling marginally positive. If the main market is down tomorrow, hourly momentum should turn negative. But structure, also actually note the opening candle was black, right? Which did play out. We leaned weak across the day into 2 o'clock, and then we floored at 61.74, and we recovered about 1% and a bit. We leaned positive, so it's almost provisionally, it's giving some confidence that that's a bull flag that's going to play out tomorrow and gap up. I hope not, because I don't own right now. I sold last Thursday or Friday. God, I'm almost forgetting. On a micro time frame, oh god, this is going to really annoy me. Have a look at it. On a 15-minute, momentum sold off. If I was going to buy today, I should have been buying at 2 o'clock, right? Look at it. It floored at 2 o'clock on a cyclical basis. I should have been buying at 61.70-ish, somewhere around here, right? That would be up 50 cents already. And now the concern is the bloody thing's just got a gap high tomorrow. I'm going to hope it gaps down straight under orange gap, in which case maybe we could see red gap Tuesday. That's possible. We've seen a few. Look, we've seen a few gaps. There's one there, right? I was hoping for this last week, and I bought in on that drop right there, sold it there, and bought back around there, and then sold it there again. But I've missed out on this bit, and I've missed out on this morning's gap, so I'm annoyed. I'm overly twitchy at the moment. But yeah, on a 15-minute, that leans bullish for tomorrow. On a 5-minute, you can argue RSI 73, we are overbought on a 5-minute chart, but again, these are tiny little cycles. I mean, broadly, look at silver. It's just broadly stair stepping up, right? So we have what? We have 5.5 trading days left of the year. Remember, Christmas Eve is a half day, and after that we have normal Friday, and then 3 days next week. And that's it. Scary. Do I end on this chart? I guess maybe I do. Maybe I should end on the gold chart. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, look at this. I mean, there are so look, I'm a split mind on this. I didn't make any money today, but on the flip side, at least I'm not losing money. So there's that. At least I'm not one of these people who are stupid. There are people out there who are stupid enough to try and short this, right? And occasionally they got little, there's a little gap down there. There's a bigger gap down there after a black candle. That was a good drop. But then every time we keep going back up. And look, we have these unfilled gaps. There's one there too. That gap was partly tagged. I guess you could say red gap was partly tagged, but maybe we won't come down to it soon. Today's gap was partly, well, half filled, I guess. We have orange gap from Friday. That hasn't been filled. So I have a vain hope, a very vain hope that somehow we will gap down early Tuesday with main market downside to orange gap, where I should, if I have any sense, I should be a buyer, a big buyer. Not sure how big, but I should buy something, right? If by some miracle we get into orange gap tomorrow, I should get back on the train again. Because we know that silver's going to break officially above $70. Could even happen tomorrow, of course. But it's got to do it, right? It's got to do it. I tell you, regular readers and listeners will know. It's like my original premise was $70 to $75 silver by mid-January, and we printed 69s today, right? I think. Yeah, according to stock charts, today's high was 69.04. I don't know why, but stock charts has issues in after hours. These charts are twitchy. Even the candles will sometimes adjust. It's weird, but anyway, silver's gonna break $70, and where does it stop? Oh, look at that. Again, the candle looked weird. The candle's wrong. It shouldn't be that. So you have to ask yourself the question. Look at the rate of acceleration. It's like where are we gonna be in January, February, and March? At some point, this is gonna have to retrace. But from what level? I think we have a pretty good chance now of $100 late January, early February, and then it could easily plummet back to somebody. Look on this. On a weekly chart, the 10 MA, 55. If you just kind of extrapolate that out to say end of, well, yeah, actually, kind of mid February, early March, the 10 MA is going to be around, I don't know, 65 to 70. So if we do get to $100, we're probably going to cool back all the way to somewhere around 65 to 60. And that's going to spook a lot of people. And in terms of weekly momentum, we've broken a new cycle high, and at some point, this is going to start. It's going to start ticking down again. And when it does, I seriously, when this thing starts ticking down again, I should not be bloody trading it. I should leave it alone until it levels out again. Because I started chasing it, right? I was chasing it when it stopped going down because I was wondering how low this was gonna go. And then it floored. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to get back on the train again. And I did. And I've done well out of it over the last few weeks. But at some point, this is gonna stop going up. And I just don't know when it's gonna be, or nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. But when it does roll over, it ain't gonna be pretty. It's going to spook the hell out of a lot of people. And of course, if that's the case, the mining stocks are also going to get hammered. And we're talking 20, 30%, some of them. So, what else is there? I don't know. I tell you what I need. I need one more good, seriously, I need one more good silver trade before the end of the year. And I need a couple of good movies to cleanse my head of the horror that I find myself in on Planet Crazy. I've written some things to my subscribers, so they'll know what I'm talking about. But I need some movies to try and forget about the horror of my existence, both personally and for those around me. I don't know. Let's say other stuff, but I'm on YouTube, so um, well, this video will be posted to YouTube, so I'm playing along with their little criteria. Don't want to upset the YouTube algorithm, right? But on my own site, of course, I can say whatever the hell I want to say, which is a beautiful thing. Even if my subscribers don't always agree with it, which is okay. That's okay. Anyway, so yeah, new historic high. Gold, silver, miners are strong, equities are strong, but a lot of black candles on the individual stock charts. So I wouldn't be surprised if the market does break lower tomorrow, but couple of hours maybe. But again, it's like pre-holiday trading. I wouldn't expect too much. So we'll see. On that very semi-random note, I wish you a good evening and a good Tuesday. Be good.